This week, the Los Angeles Dodgers made their way to the White House to commemorate their World Series win, making them the first professional team to visit Donald Trump in the White House during his second presidency. Now, I'm not surprised the Dodgers went to the White House, but I'm still disappointed they chose to kiki with the president whose administration just recently tried to literally erase Jackie Robinson's military contributions from the Department of Defense's website. As part of this administration's endless and thoughtless campaign to rid all government institutions of DEI, which has come to encompass any piece of history that tells the truth about the legacy of white supremacy in this country. It was only after the Trump administration was shamed by journalists and the public did the Department of Defense restore the webpage that featured Jackie Robinson, who served in the United States Army before being honorably discharged after he was found not guilty following a bogus attempt to court-martial him because he wouldn't sit in the back of the bus. But that embarrassing incident has not at all slowed down this administration's continued efforts to erase and whitewash this country's history. The National Park Service removed references to Harriet Tubman from their webpage on the Underground Railroad. The website used to state the truth, that Tubman organized and operated the Underground Railroad partially in response to the Fugitive Slave Act, a federal law that passed in 1850 that allowed fugitive and freed slaves to be captured and enslaved, and those who aided enslaved fugitives were punished. Side note, go look at Texas's abortion law. Let's just say they copied a little bit off the Fugitive Slave Act's paper. In the National Park Service's updated version of the significance of the Underground Railroad, they failed to mention that nasty business about hunting people who were owned by other people. Instead, it reads like a bunch of black folks just decided to take a little road trip in the name of togetherness. And oh, how I wish I was being facetious. Here's the National Park's exact description of what the Underground Railroad was. The Underground Railroad flourished from the end of the 18th century to the end of the Civil War, was one of the most significant expressions of the American Civil Rights Movement. An expression? So suddenly the Underground Railroad is interpretive dance. During its evolution over more than 3 centuries, the Underground Railroad bridged the divides of race, religion, sectional differences, and nationality. Wait a minute. Bridges the divide. The enslaved black people were running from the white people who were trying to put them back into bondage. It was an escape, not a meet cute. It spanned state lines and international borders and joined the American ideals of liberty and freedom expressed in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution to the extraordinary actions of ordinary men and women working in common purpose to free a people. The deepest of Negro sighs. Now, not to go off on a longer tangent, but to kind of go off on a longer tangent, Trump is also coming after the National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington, D.C., which is part of the prestigious Smithsonian. Trump is specifically targeting the museum's slavery exhibit because it is a raw experience. I've been to this museum and it's one of the best museums in the world. The slavery exhibit takes up the entire bottom floor and is one of its most powerful components. It does not back down from the truth that America became an economic and global superpower because of slavery. On top of the precious artifacts in this exhibit, it tells the painful story of America's foundation and how we came to this country. Trump has called the museum, quote, ideologically unacceptable. Now, I'm trying to be a Christian this week, so I'm not going to say what I really want to say, but you already know what I'm thinking. But let me just say this. The people who are dedicated to erasing history do so because they actually want to repeat it. So the Trump administration's efforts to erase Jackie Robinson is on brand. And when they did that, you would think you would have heard a loud and angry response from the Dodgers. Instead, you heard this. And when it came to Major League Baseball, you heard a whole lot of cowardice from Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred.
To see the headline that you guys took diversity out off the website and all of the stuff that's going on there, I understand DEI is under attack, but why remove that word, the diversity word, especially being as though that MLB is the most diverse league of all the professional sports, by far, right? The most diverse league, and you look at the history there. Jackie Robinson Day's coming up. Why remove that word? What was the thinking behind that decision?
Well, you know, I am, if nothing else, pragmatic. You know, I have paid very close attention to what's going on in Washington. The EEOC issued some guidance just last week that was pretty pointed about, you know, certain red flag issues with respect to programs. Our view was that we should go through our programs, do the very best we could to make sure that we would not be a target. And if we avoid being a target, we can continue with those programs to do all the good work we've done over a series of years, and avoid the situation where you become a target and the programs get blown up altogether.
Yeah.
I just don't, I was managing my downside, maybe is the best way to say it.
If you scared, just say you scared. You bent the knee. And what's so insulting and infuriating about Manfred's approach is that this is the same league that asked Jackie Robinson to take all the smoke so that they could sell white people on the idea of baseball's integration. And most importantly, it would allow the league to gain access to black baseball talent. But now that Jackie Robinson needs the league to stand 10 toes down for his legacy, this is all they got.
Does Jackie Robinson Day change at all with the fact that the diversity issue, and then obviously the government removing Jackie Robinson's history, replacing it back, but does that change at all for MLB?
You know, I think Jackie Robinson transcends any debate that's going on in today's society about issues surrounding DEI. I mean, what Jackie Robinson stands for was moving us past an overt kind of segregation that I don't believe anybody actually supports today. And he's a symbol of that, and he's an important part of our history, and we will continue to celebrate him as we always have.
Only Jackie Robinson doesn't transcend diversity, equity, and inclusion. He personifies it. Despite the nonstop campaign to weaponize DEI, the entire purpose of DEI always has been rooted in giving qualified, let me repeat that for the cheap seats, qualified people an opportunity that they wouldn't have otherwise received because they have historically been barred or overlooked from those opportunities. Jackie Robinson is the ultimate example of DEI. He was qualified to play in Major League Baseball, but without Dodgers executive Branch Rickey, he doesn't get that opportunity. And without Jackie Robinson, there is no Mookie Betts, and there is no Shohei Ohtani. I recently went to see the Dodgers play against my Detroit Tigers, and their stadium is filled with Jackie Robinson memorabilia. They're more than happy to display Jackie Robinson, more than happy to be part of Jackie Robinson Day on April 15th. But if you're not willing to defend the name and legacy of the most important player in baseball's history against the same white supremacy, then I have to wonder if what Jackie Robinson fought for was even worth it. I'm Jemele Hill, and I approve this message.